Welcome back, everyone. This is part 2 of my engine rebuild. Don't take it as a tutorial, it's just me putting this engine back together. If you made it past my 20-minute part 1 video, I gotta congratulate you because if you did, I try to keep it as short as I could, but I just didn't know where to cut it, so I just left it in there like that. And really, I'm running short on time because it's Tuesday and I've got 4 days to get ready for the 5th scale national race on the weekend. So I'm going to be rushing through this video. I've already done some stuff already just to cut some time. I've already put the piston into the crankshaft here, into the piston rod here, and I put in the piston ring, as well as that's pretty much it. Now, I don't know how well this engine is going to work, simply because I did notice over on here there is some scoring, as you can see, on the piston here, right there and there. And I'm not sure if it'll, I tried to catch it on camera earlier, but it won't show up because even looking at it like this, it's hard to see. So I don't know how well this engine will run after I do this. Doesn't really matter because I do have my backup engine over here. Well, maybe this might be my primary engine. I don't know how much power I'm going to lose by using this engine. But I do have a Zenoa G290. This is pretty much the most popular engine at the track, and it has a great amount of power. I don't know how well compared to the Gizmo, but I don't think it'll have as much bottom end, but we'll see. After I start it up and give it a run, I'll probably be on Thursday or so, or maybe tomorrow. If I can get this ready quickly, I'll try to run this tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Alright, on to the rebuild here. Alright, so I'm going to start off by just putting in some 2-stroke oil in here, just to lube it up. You want to make sure when you put that piston in that it's nice and lubed in here with 2-stroke motor oil. Just slightly along the walls and stuff. I think I might have put too much in there. Alright, that'll do. And just a little bit on the piston. Oh, by the way, if you got, I had to trim my gasket here, as you can see. So I just got a sharp X-Acto knife and I trimmed that down because it was sticking up about 2 millimeters. So make sure you trim that down before you place your cylinder head on back to the crankcase. Alright, so let's start off with here. Take this apart. Make sure you put this in properly. You can tell which way is the back because the back has this notch here for the Woodruff key, so you know that's the flywheel back here. Actually, I probably should have oiled this one a little later because I got to bolt this up right now. After I finish, actually I might do it now. I might torque these down to their proper specs. For now I'm just going to put this in here. Now I have applied thread locker to this already, so I'm going to make sure I don't mess up And I do realize what I did wrong the last time. When I get to that part in the video, I'll tell you what I did to mess that up. Alright, so I've gone ahead and torqued down these 4 bolts using my torque wrench. This is a good tool to have when you're rebuilding your engines or assembling a new one. I was going to leave it for last, but it's best if I do it right away. The head bolts I'll do later, simply because I've got my stock gasket on here, and after I measure my squish clearance, I'll see which gasket I use, because I've got 3 thicknesses to deal with here, so we'll see. I don't remember which one I used last time, so we'll see if this one is okay. Also, make sure when you put your piston in that you have it in the proper way. The arrow points towards the exhaust, and also make sure that notch is pointing towards your intake, and make sure that you have your piston ring with that little gap there on the notch. Alright, so when you put your, make sure you put your head on properly here, because you want the intake pointing the right way, and same with the exhaust. You don't want to be twisting later when you have this on. So you don't want to have it on backwards, and then you don't want to do that, right? So make sure it goes straight in. Alright, the easiest way to do it is make sure you also lube up the insides here. This is nice and lubed up, and just squeeze the piston ring here, and just get past the mouth of the head here. Now you just slide up, and in she goes. Come on. And she is in. Okay, that's in place. Now to put in the bolts. Make sure when you do this that you go in star pattern, just so that you get a nice even, like that's on evenly on the engine here, on the crankcase. I did the same with the crankcase bolts. There. I'm just going to torque these down so that I make sure that I get the proper measurement for the gap up here at the top when I measure it. So do that off camera, and so that saves some time. Well, one thing I forgot to mention, don't forget to lube up your bearings on the engine here. I just used some 2-stroke oil in there, and that's it. They were nice and clean already, but I went and cleaned them out and put in some 2-stroke oil in there. Okay, so measuring the squish clearance now. All you got to do is just get a piece of lead solder, not a very thick one. You need a pretty thin one. I'm not sure what size this is, because the roll I have, the label came off, so I don't know what size it is, but it's just a thin piece of lead solder. Don't want to go with a thick one, because you're not going to be able to turn the crankcase. You won't be able to turn it with that thickness being too thick, so you want something that's kind of thin. So you just want to place this into here. It's best if you make like an L shape to this, and just place it down into here, and make sure you touching the wall in there. I can't see which way this is pointing. Oh, there we go. And then all you got to do is just turn this. Get some camera properly here. little bit tough to do while being on camera doing this. Alright, so there it is touching the wall. And we just turn until we feel some pressure. Alright, so there it is. And what you want to do is, if you can do it with one hand, very good for you, but it's best to use two, and then you just squeeze it, and then there you go. Take that out, and now you just measure it with your calipers here. Make sure you zero this out. This is a cheapy one here. I think I'm looking for a better one, but it'll do for now. Alright, so this one is measuring, hold on a second. It's about 0.59. Yeah, 0.59. That's basically where you want it to be, anywhere between 0.5 and 0.7. So I'm pretty much right in the middle. So that's not too bad. So the stock gasket will stay on. I don't need to change it. Okay. So the squish is measured, and that is good. On to what am I going to do next here with this engine. Let me figure that out and I'll come back. Alright, so here's how the engine build is going right now. As you can see, it is nice and complete. Yeah, right. Something has gone completely wrong, and I will not be able to use this engine for Walton Raceway for the national race. That's coming up this weekend. Just showing you here what has gone wrong is I have broken the bolt completely right off inside the back of the flywheel part of the crankcase. I was screwing it, just bolting it down. I wasn't even, as soon as it touched, it heard a crack, and I'm like, oh no. And I knew exactly what happened. That bolt must have been weakened or something. I don't know what happened, but it just broke completely off as it was screwing it in. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get that out of there. I have no idea how to get this one out. Either way, I'm glad I have this motor here, because I'll probably be going to the weekend race, the National 5th Scale race, with my Zenoa G290. So I'm going to start prepping this engine, and well, that's the end of the rebuild series right there. Until I can figure out how to get that out of there. Alright, thanks for watching. That was pretty much a useless series. Stuff happens, man, and when you're in a rush, this is what you get. Alright everyone, take care.